Okay, welcome. I forgot to write down the day, but I think it's day 41 of 90. So, like we talked about yesterday, you want to be sure that these last couple days, right before halfway, you're coming in strong because I know when you're halfway through a shift, you're halfway through a run, but not quite halfway. That can feel super hard because you're not even over the hump yet. So, let's kick it in here. My name is Kelly Couch here. For those of you that don't know me, I'm an independent promoter with the company Prove It. And today we are going to talk about Social Media 101 Part 2. So yesterday we went over a lot of getting started. Like if you're looking at your social media and you're like, man, I'm posting Prove It all the time. Why are people not coming? Yesterday we kind of went over why that might be happening and some changes that you could make immediately to change that so that people, when they come to your site, they're not like, I would never message her because she posts everything, Prove It. They're like, oh, dang, this girl's kind of interesting. Like maybe she's my people. Okay. So today we're going to continue on that. My outcome for today is to give you some really powerful tools to decide what you want kind of your storefront to be. So if you guys think about this, this is kind of your storefront. So people are walking down the street. You've been to like the city or small towns where they have a whole bunch of little shops, right? And people are walking by constantly. And what makes them kind of choose to step inside and say, man, I think I want to check out what this girl's all about or what this store is all about. So this is your storefront. Your social media is your storefront, right? And then I'm going to give you things to apply within your quote unquote store. So when people walk in, how are you applying these things so that you can make sure that, you know, you're getting the best outcome for your time that you're putting into social media. So before we go there, I want to do some quick recognition. Crystal, for your positivity. I will recognize positivity any day. And I think, you know, some of you guys that have been around for a while, when I first started, I'm like, how do people not deal with the negativity that comes into their life? But if you hear Michael Rutherford talk, who's been doing it longer than any of us, he's like, I'm a thermostat. Like the negativity comes, like I don't change. I push it away. So positivity, I will always welcome that into my life. Okay, Mary Ann, social media is stepping up your game. That's what we're talking about here. So I will appreciate that. Like I think social media can be scary, just like cold contacting can be scary. So anytime you're making moves, even if it's you got recognized by someone else, Marianne. So I'm going to go in and check that out because I want to see that. But I want to say, like, anytime people are making moves right or wrong, I think it's good because you're taking action, and that's how you learn. You can't learn if you're not trying. So Tony, leading from the front. And I also want to recognize anybody who has their tickets to Philly and Hacking Better. I'm going to go in today and make a list. I don't have time today because I got a lot to get through, but I'm going to make a list and I'm going to be announcing those because the more I hear and the more trainings I listen to, the people who grow the most, and we're putting all this time in daily, but the people who are growing the most are people who are going event to event to event to event. Nick and I heard that our very first event. They were like, you'll see the people that come to these events every single time over and over and over are the ones who end up growing and being successful. So okay, so just to recap the point of yesterday, we want to be creating longevity in our businesses, right? So these changes are the first step. Those changes I had everyone making yesterday, the first step. As promoters, I think, from day one to day today, like we get so excited and rightfully so about what we have, right? And we assume that everyone that would ever come in contact with us wants to be that excited about ketones, right? And so on social media, because that's what we're talking about, we just spew that. We just spew it all over them because we're so excited. And why would they not want to know? I did that in my last company, and leading into this, it's all I put on there because I was like, clearly it's the best. They want to know about it. They need to know about it. They didn't even want to talk to me. Let's be really honest. They didn't even want to hear not what I had to say about the business. They didn't want to hear what I had to say in general because they thought I was going to talk about the business, right? So I think sometimes do's and don'ts and giving those can get a little iffy because you have to find what works for you. But I think those yesterday matter because picture this, like, Jenny's on Facebook and her friends know her, right? They can count on Jenny for her dog pics and Netflix and that she drives Uber and her funny Uber stories or whatever they love Jenny for, right? And then one day, all Jenny posts about is ketones. And they're like, what happened to my friend? Like, where did Jenny go? It's a different person. She's 100% unrelatable at that point. They're like, where'd she even go? And then they just lose interest and they don't talk to her anymore, because the reason they love her is because all those things are funny about her. And then that's what they love to see about her, right? That's why those do's and don'ts matter yesterday. And here with social media, we want to create something that is seamless. So if yesterday you were like, oh shoot, she's talking about me on social media, first of all, congrats for trying. Like, congrats for trying. Congrats for keeping that car moving. Because if you're out there and you're blitzing social media, I always say it's like my hair when I let it go the whole summer and it's long and the color disaster. My hairstylist loves me because it's this beautiful mess. Like, they can just tailor it right back into what it's supposed to look like, and it's great, right? So if you're moving and you're doing, I always want to congratulate that, right? And your heart is in the right place. And I think that's amazing. And so here, what we're going to do is we're just going to make little shifts to make it better. And in a year, if you're making these little shifts, it's going to be unrecognizable. In another year, you're going to be like, oh, dang, I've had a pretty significant online business. Like, that literally just gave me chills up my arm. Like, that is cool, right? That's what we all want. So who's ready for more? Who's excited about this today? I am. Okay. Because I was reviewing for this today and I was like, oh man, like sometimes I even get away from this stuff. Like, I've been posting people's birthdays on their page instead of PMing, or different things I haven't been doing. I maybe get stuck in one that I like instead of really doing all of them, which is how I want to do it. So, the first thing we want to talk about is when a stranger looks at you on social media, do they get a feeling of you? So we're going to continue on from yesterday about being more of yourself, right? I post sales. I will admit that, right? I think however you can get it out there is good. I do not post flyers, right? But when a sale is over, who knows that you can go in and hide that post, right? You can archive it, you can save it, you can put it, your privacy settings there are available, right? So the reason I'm telling you that is because yesterday we talked about, how social media can provide validation for you when you meet people out in public. So the Eat, Drink, and Be Keto is good, the customer group, another, your social media, it's important because it's giving you this validation when you just talk to them at the store. So I want the gal that I met at the mom's group, for example, to scroll and to see me, right? I don't want her to see a salesperson. I want her to be like, oh, that girl I met, she's like in all this stuff that I'm into, right? I don't want her to go in and the first thing is like 20%, 30%, 5% off, who got their cream, ketones, that stuff will come. So you can make a really good post, like, we always like to do, best day ever, like fall is, if you're into fall, like fall is here, my kids are doing this, and keto cream is 20% off till noon. And then you can go in and hide that later, so that those posts, if they do a couple good scrolls, they're seeing all of you. They're not seeing all that other stuff. And when you do this, you can reuse your language, right? Like, so if you love the language that you use and you thought it was awesome, if it's not up there all the time for people to see, you can be reusing that, right? And if you're doing what I'm going to teach, you're going to have new eyes on your social media all the time. So that reusing that language, retelling your story all the time, like we've talked about, that stuff is super important because you're always having new eyes watching what you're doing. So the next thing, how many people follow people on social media and you've never met them, but if you met them in person, you'd say, this is my friend Susan, because you watch them so much and you know so much about them that if you were like, it wouldn't even be awkward for you to be like, that's my girl. Like, I know her. I know about her kids. I know about her family. I know about what she does on the weekends. You know everything about them, right? But that person is doing what we're going to talk about today, and you want to look at what they're doing because it's not rocket science. It's totally replicatable if we're willing to spend a little time there and look at it and study what they're doing. You'll see, and Missy and I talk about this all the time. We're like, I think you always get in your head like, oh, this person must just have it on social media. But probably 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, they didn't. But what they started to do was watch and learn and watch and learn. And Missy and I are always saying, like, what they're doing is not hard. They just do it consistent. So consistent, right? So who's seen the 212 live training? Kendra did it. A couple of people have done it at different playbook events. I don't have that paper. Like, I wouldn't even know how to put it through a Zoom. I'm not that technologically advanced, but I will send that out after today in the Rhino Squad. But that will kind of tie it all together when you see that list. But there's 3 different lists basically for this 212 live. So the first list is going to be you. And this is the most important, right? The you list. I want you to actually sit down and make these lists when you're done. Like I said, I'll send that out. It'll make it easier. But it's an ever-changing list. And I think sometimes for me, like I'll even in a month's time, because I'm that crazy and unorganized, which is okay. That's me. That's part of my you list. Is that I'll look at a list I made a month ago and I'll go back in and I'm like, oh, like I don't even do that anymore. Like I can just scratch that off. It's ever changing. And if you'd looked at it from 5 years ago, 8 years ago, I didn't have kids 8 years ago. You know, it's totally different. So you can always be changing it. And if you need help with these, ask your coach, ask someone close to you. Like it's kind of funny if you'd say to like your family or your friends, like what makes me me? And then they start telling you all these things and you're like, oh dang, that is kind of what I do. But like you maybe don't even realize it about yourself until you mirror it. So what is it? Facts about you. Do you have a family? Are you spiritual? Are you opinionated? Where do you shop? What food do you like? Do you like memes? Do you like makeup? What do you love? What do you terrible about? What are you terrible at? Like that stuff is funny too, right? Like I would love to be someone that makes the kind of foods that Kara presents at her keto life parties. It's going to be a while. Okay. I'm the kind of person that makes like meat and veggies and adds the fat in after. That's okay. That's me. I will take all of those leftovers whenever anybody sends them home. Okay. That's funny, right? Like it's okay to be that person. So when you share these and people like and comment, they're raising their hand that they're watching. They're saying, okay, this girl's funny. I like this, right? I like this post. I like this girl, whatever they're doing. They're saying I like this, but what this does not mean is that you message them about ketones. Okay. So you make a post that like I just said about baking or cooking or whatever else, someone likes it and you go in and you're like, hey, do you want a 5 or a 10 day? That was awkward. Like that was weird. Even me, like I've been weird before and that even felt weird to say it kind of. Okay. What it does mean is that you're going to engage with them so they can feel seen also. Like it feels good when you start to talk to someone in person or online and then they like give you a shout out on their social media. Like, I know Kelly Couch was talking about this yesterday. You feel seen, you feel heard. That feels good. So what you want to do is then go in and make them feel seen. So they like your comment. Hey, and I've been doing this lately and it's super quick. But it's like, hey, thanks for liking my post. How's your day going? Thanks for liking my post. Or if it was about, you name it, like how I spilled my coffee all over the ground. Like, hey, thanks for liking my post. Hope you didn't spill your coffee today. Or like, how did it taste when you licked it off the floor? Whatever. If you want to be weird, if you're weird, it's okay. So you want to be engaging with those on whatever they liked, right? This is where you're going to spend the most time. Your you list is where you're attracting you, right? So don't try to be the person that goes out and does yard work all the time if that's not your thing. You want to be attracting the people who are like you, and this is where you want to spend a lot of your time engaging, right? It's a long game. We have to remember that. But when these people start to feel comfortable, there are names I see on Instagram that if they came out and were selling something, or I go in their thing and they whatever, I would definitely check it out because I see these names a lot. They engage with me a lot. They know my kid's name. They ask how sports went, and I've never met them in person, right? So that's important. The second list you're going to make is your prove it list. And this is where people go nuts when they first join, right? Go crazy. You make a prove it list and you post 14 of them a day for the next 30 days and you don't know why no one buys ketones. I get it, right? Like you want to take action, you're all in. But what you're going to do, instead of posting all of those online, you're going to keep them all in a list that you're going to save. You're going to keep all those amazing testimonials. You're going to keep all those product stories. You're going to keep all those inspirations you got from someone in the company or a mentor you have. You're going to keep all the benefits that it's given you or the business opportunity or any of those things. You're going to keep them all in a list, right? And then you're going to get all of this that you want to blast over social media on your list instead, so that when you're doing this 2-1-2 live, that one is your day, right? So go in there, find a great one, and figure out a good way to share that. How are you going to figure that out? You're going to look at people's posts on social media. You can learn on YouTube. You know, like, don't make it all about that, but that day you can spew it. You can give it, but relate it to you, right? Like, I wouldn't just share a doctor video. I would go in and say, man, like, if you want to talk about the doctor video, it's awesome that our company does these awesome live videos. I can always get all my questions answered, XYZ, stay compliant, right? That's where you're going to give that information. Third list is your dream list. And this is the most fun, you guys, because this is your heart, right? You're going to attract with your you list, And then your dream list is where people are going to get to know your heart, and you want to make people feel excited to dream, right? I mean, we see it all the time with Prove It. As people get older, or as people get whatever stuck in their ways, they stop dreaming, right? They think dreamers are crazy. Like, I can't tell you how many times, even before Nick and I left our jobs, like, you guys are crazy. Even when it was happening, like, why would you do that? You had a good job. It's always like, everyone has opinions on the dreams, right? But people need that. Like, imagine if you could give that to someone, like, oh man, if she can dream about this, like, maybe I could have a dream and like chase it. Like, give that to someone. Like, that gives me chills, you guys. That's what people want to see, and they want to believe in that. We need to give them stuff to believe in. So that list is important, right? So the people who love this, they want to win. They make great entrepreneurs because they see your dream and they want that for themselves, right? You can dream. If you think this is really hard, sit down and think about the things you want. Make it obnoxious, make it big, make it crazy. Why not? You don't need to fit in. People, I've said this on Zooms before. I don't like to watch boring people on social media. I like to watch the crazy ones because, like, I don't know that I would ever do that stuff, but that's the people who make me feel like alive, right? And that's how we want to feel. So now you have a roadmap of what to post. Sorry, I think I got a call coming in. So now you have a roadmap of what to post and not posting it all at once, right? So now the North Star of posting, right? What would you post to the you reading it? I think that's kind of when you have these lists down and you're like, okay, now how do I actually put that into words? Think about yourself reading it. Like, what would you want to read from someone else? And sometimes when I read other people's posts, I really like it when they're just themselves as opposed to like a really put together post. And I know like some of mine seem that way because people have said it, but I find myself changing it from really like lofty wording to like getting into the nitty gritty, right? So what would you want to read, and then try to gear it towards that. So this 212 live is the order you're pulling from to post in. That makes sense, right? And then you're going to aim for one a day. If you're not feeling it, I would recommend skipping that day as opposed to putting up one just because that's okay as far as algorithms and that stuff go. And you want it to be real. You want it to be you, right? So example, just to kind of lay this out, day 1, you list, day 2, you list, day 3, prove it list, day 4, dream list, day 5, dream list, and day 6, live, right? Did your heart just stop? Some of you, you're like, I don't want to do a live ever in my whole life. That was me 3 years ago, right? And then I would literally go in another room because I would be afraid Nick would turn the camera on. I didn't want to talk, right? So it's okay. You can grow in this, and we're here to help. You have an awesome community of things you can do, right? You can, it doesn't have to be about prove it, first of all. You can not have to do like 20 minutes. Do 2 minutes. I heard people's attention span is 2 minutes. So I was watching something. It said they recommend lives are 2 minutes. You can handle that, right? And you can click off it and delete it if you need to. You can, interview your kids, share something you learned when you were reading a book, anything you want to do, right? And realize, sorry, I just walked in. Go up, please. Okay. And realize that you list and dream list are connecting you with people, and your prove it posts are serving that purpose. What the live is going to do is going to get you in front of way more people. So this live, like, I feel like we get behind the camera, like, whoa, we need to bring it, right? But what you're doing is like, tell a funny story, tell whatever happened that day, tell something. But what that's going to do is take all these other posts that you spent so much time on and show them to people. And that's what we want, right? That's what's going to attract people. So tips for lives. Who's terrified to do this? It's okay. Raise your hand. I was there. A, you can change the privacy. So if it's public, you can go in when you click in and you put the topic, you can change it to private. When it's done, post it and then change it back to public. That way, when you're actually live, it's only like your friends seeing it, and then you can put it public, and then you can just forget about it, right? Because if it's because of the viewers that you don't like to go live, then just cover that up. Put a little piece of paper over it, right? Another tip, ask your friends to go comment and like on it, right? So I could come into the Rhino Squad and be like, hey guys, I was super scared to go live, but I did it anyhow. I'm really proud of myself. Can you go in and like and comment? So that's going to make me feel good. I'm not just sitting there like, oh my gosh, I went live. It was so weird. No one even liked it. No, it's got like 20 comments, and it's already populating it and doing all that stuff, right? Ask someone to do it with you. Makes it a lot less scary. And remember, we want to stay within the 4 things I talked about yesterday: value, educate, entertain, inspire. If you're staying within those and you're 2 minutes and you're funny or like not funny, whatever you're doing, and you're getting people to like and engage, you're winning, you're practicing, right? Okay, so keeping them alive, they're good to track pieces. As the more comments, the more you reply to that keeps them alive. Okay, Facebook groups. We're gonna move into this, couple more minutes. Facebook groups. You can rock a business in these groups, but please understand the rules, okay? Just like we talked about yesterday, Facebook can terminate your account for being too salesy. These groups will kick you out, will kick you out, right? If you're in there posting links. What we're not doing, we're not posting links, flyers, or selling. What we are doing is in there making friends, right? You want to attract them to your page where they will see your 212 live. Okay, same thing with Instagram hashtags. You can search the hashtags you're interested in, and it'll bring up a whole new list of friends that have the same interest, just like the Facebook groups that you're searching, okay? So if you look at their profile and it looks like your person and you follow them, then you're gonna engage the same way. You're gonna like and comment on their post, you're gonna message them, and you're gonna be connecting. It's the same way both places. You can also search hashtags by location. We had a team training on that. You can make a lot of friends here where you live. You can also make a lot of friends where you're going. Who's going to Philly next weekend? You can go make some friends on Instagram in Philly and see them when you're at the Playbook event. Oh, I happen to be going to Philly next week. Not that I just searched Philadelphia in hashtags, right? What's a good place to eat? I see you're out and about in Philadelphia. Like, I'm going there next week. What's a good place to eat? Oh, you want to meet up for coffee? Okay. You guys can do this, right? So I want you to imagine that you start to become an attraction machine this way. Like that, how would it feel to be like you're engaging in groups and you wake up and you've got 20 messages just connecting with people, right? And then what follows? Then you can use those great connect tools. You can learn through so many situations. You know, you handle them bad, you handle them good sometimes, but you're learning. And you can stop hyper-focusing on the one person that you've been trying to get to drink ketones forever and ever and ever and ever. And you have this full timeline. So that one person that didn't want to drink them, I'm not saying forget about people, but you kind of forget about them because you're connecting with all these others. And then they're like, oh, dang, why is Kelly paying attention to everyone else? Like, maybe I'll go see what she's doing. See how that worked? And I didn't even have to talk to him. So for a call to action, I want to give you guys a couple because I really, if you are on here and you're raising your hand like I want to build this through social media, then we've got to start making these moves, right? We got to get started because it's a consistency game. It's a long game and it's going to take time to make these connections. So first, I want you to expand your U list. Second, I want you to go join 3 new Facebook groups based on your U list. And you can filter them out. Like just because you're in a group doesn't mean that you have to stay in there forever. Like if you get in there and you don't like the group, take yourself out and go find a new group. Like you're never stuck. You can always move. And part of that, this is an and or nor. Like if you're on Facebook or Instagram, do both if you're here to build, right? Follow 3 people on Instagram based on your U list. And this is key. So do these, set it as your DMO, set an alarm, do these daily, right? It takes time, but you can make a habit of it, 5 to 10 minutes a day. The third one, schedule your first live and plan ahead if you're doing it with someone. If you need someone to do it with, I will raise my hand and be your friend that day, okay? So call me if you need to do a live. I'm sure a lot of people on here will do it with you. And for the fourth, I want you to self-audit, okay? So I want you to go through your Facebook, scroll like 3 or 4 times as if you were stranger A coming onto your page because, oh, I saw Jess Nouse in a group for Jeeps. She looks pretty cool. I hovered over her thing and she had a really inspirational post that, or banner that really made me think. And she looks really cool. Like she's got this huge face picture and it's not like her shoes. So I kind of see that she's kind of like me and normal. So I'm going to click in. I'm going to scroll 3 times. My goodness, she's not even selling me anything, but look at all this stuff. She also has 2 boys. I have 2 boys. Like you see where this is going, right? Not like, oh, she has ketones. Let me get my credit card out, right? Like it's different. So make those 3 scrolls and you can adjust it, guys. Like if it's all about you, pat yourself on the back. Hide some. If you need to hide some, it's okay, but just kind of get a feel for what you're doing. So I'm excited to continue this on Monday. I had a whole other page that I missed. That's okay, but I don't want to go over anymore. So I will briefly go over what I missed on Monday, and then we will get into some advanced training. So have a good weekend, everyone.